Player 2 has entered the game.
Let's do it. Hot diggity freaking dog. I'm so pumped right now. So I am here with Bunny, if you guys didn't already notice, so we can spread some lies and some deceit around what's going on. I'm just kidding. So just to basically show you guys a little bit about the new map area, we have a lot that we want to talk about with you guys that we have planned. I think it's going to be something that's going to be a good time. We got a couple brewskis, a little bit of liquor on the side. He's got his Negan jacket on. I mean, say what's up, Bunny.
Oh, hello, everyone. It's nice to be here. Hopefully I can fulfill everything we've promised to talk about tonight.
Oh yeah. And I think either way, we're going to come out of this with some fun and interesting information, and I'm excited to talk about it. So yeah, we got a nice little view too. I just realized.
Yeah, I think this is the best view in the game at the moment.
It's nice. It's really nice. I don't know if anybody in the chat has anything to compete with it, but yeah, so far I think this is probably the best view as well. But
I mean, we can take suggestions for our next interview someday.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to do more of these. But I think the way that we want to kind of start this thing is one of the biggest questions I think that was on people's minds about what we're going to actually talk about and what you guys are actually interested in about the new map is the size. So what do we got there, Bunny?
So first thing we have to mention is that there is a total of 9 sectors. 9 new sectors are being added to the game. So this roughly equals to like 56% increase of the playable map. So like quite large, to be honest. So before going any further, one thing we have to emphasize is the insane scale this brings into the game.
Right.
And along with that scale, we have to tackle a lot of new problems. So this mainly reflects in the number of actors that are on the island. And every single actor eats at the performance and can slow down the server. So when I say actors, I refer to new places of interest, vehicles, sentries, puppets, animals. So as the map is getting larger, more of those are coming to the game as well. So we have to kind of balance it out to keep the performance satisfying and the new additions interesting. So our main priority at the moment is to optimize the game as much as possible and smooth out the gaming experience before implementing anything new. So when we talk about the map expansion, the things that are kind of doing problems for us at the moment are physics accuracy. So since the space in which it's calculated is getting increased, and the more away from the center of the map the player is, the accuracy of the physics is going to drop off. So that's the main problem that we're tackling.
Yeah.
Addition of new sea and water areas will result in an increase in the physical volume and post-processing amounts. We are currently waiting for a solution that should come with the 4.26 version of the Unreal Engine. So hopefully this will all be resolved really, really fast.
Awesome.
We're really optimistic when it comes to that. So our team is, like doing everything they can. They're like working their asses off. So you guys can, be calm and just look forward to the new map expansion.
I like to hear that. I mean, and for those of you that don't know, I want to say 2 things really quick. So first thing, the map is upside down. This is the way that Thomas Lob decided to post it. So I tried flipping it over, but then the numbers are flipped over too, and it looks all fucked up. So no, the map is upside down right now. This is going to be added to the southern portion of the map, just so we're all clear on that. Second thing is, we didn't really rehearse any of this beforehand, so if my reactions seem genuine, they are. I actually don't know any of this information either. This is the first time we're actually being able to speak about it. There's a lot of conflicting schedules and things like that, but here we are.
I don't know half of it as well. I have like 10 guys whispering information to me behind my back. So
oh, okay, very well. So this is just whispers and hearsay, right?
Total conspiracy.
Yeah, total conspiracies. So yeah, I think I see a lot of what you're talking about. So on the map, I've got it actually pulled up for everybody on the stream here. We're looking at obviously the main map is on here, and there's little green dots that I see, not even just on the new area, but also on the main map. And then we have some numbered locations, some little red circles, a couple red looking cross type thingies almost. And so I guess maybe we can delve a little bit more into what all that means, because I know everybody's been talking about it. So,
If you agree with it, we can start with number one and go from there, right?
well, I think that's something that'd be fair to ask. I mean, what do you guys think? You guys want to start from number one and literally break this down, or do you guys just want to skip things? I think we should do. I think we should start with number one and then work our way up.
Yeah, it's more organized that way.
I completely agree. What do you think, chat? Let's go for number one. All right, tactical. Well, I'm down, so let's go ahead and do it. Yeah, organizing should be a good plan. All right, go for it.
Okay, so number one on the map, that's going to be a new place of interest. That's going to be abandoned weapons factory, or as we call it, torpedo factory. A torpedo was actually the name of a Croatian weapons factory that exists in real life. It was primarily focused on the production of weapons, military trucks, engines, and tractors. So the main factory was based in Rijeka, a large Croatian coastal town. So we kind of wanted to implement it into the game as it would really, really fit nicely there.
Absolutely. So torpedo factory, right?
Yeah, don't let the name confuse you. It's not specifically based on production of torpedoes.
Okay.
So it will mostly offer military grade loot of the higher tier, and some special vehicles in the future will be probably produced there. I can't go into more details about that since it's still top secret.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was going to talk about. that's what I was going to ask as soon as you said torpedoes.
Yeah, it'll just be a little hint for you guys.
All right.
We can go to number two.
Sure. Yeah, let's hit number two. Let me try to find it on my map first.
North, at the top of the map, like those little red signs.
So now we get to see what those red signs mean. Okay.
Those are actually windmills.
Oh, okay. That makes a little sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So actually, windmills, they will still serve as a place where players will be able to get some free electrical energy and possibly control the distribution of electrical energy to certain parts of the island in the future.
Really? So actually, like, kind of set up in some sort of grid that connects to pieces of the map?
Exactly, and it will probably be tied to a lot of the story elements that will be implemented later. It practically means that they will serve as a place of great strategic importance once you implement this electrical systems into the game.
Yeah, so when you say strategic importance, do you mean as in like something that players may be able to actually like control themselves, and then other people may have to, I don't know, PvP or do a little bit of combat to get it back from them if it comes down to that?
Yeah, sure. I can see why not. I mean,
Wow.
it will be tied to the storyline. That's 100% sure.
Sure.
But aside from that, yeah, you will be able to do some interactions on the windmills, and they will affect parts of the island and other players' experience.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, yeah, I that sounds like something I definitely am looking forward to, hearing more about, along in the next coming patches and updates that we got along coming. So I guess we can hop over to number three.
Yeah, number three is a hotel resort with Waterpark.
Let me see if I can find it. Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah, on your left. That's it. This resort is connected with a bridge. That should be like number 24 on the map. So it's fairly large. It spreads from the number 3 on the map, almost close to the 24.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's something like the largest city we have in the game currently is Samobor.
Sure.
Yeah, and the hotel resort with the water park will be Samobor on the other part of the map, if you're following me.
Yeah, so you say it connects all the way down to 24. How exactly, what connects to 24?
It's spread all across the coastal line. And on the 24, we have a large bridge that connects it to the mainland.
Oh, wow. And so is it like an underground system or like what the main thing I'm asking here is like what exactly is connecting 3 to 24? Is it like little towns along the way or?
Yeah, it's actually, the resort itself is inspired with a real life location near Croatian town of Šibenik, also coastal area.
Okay.
So the name of the real life location is Solaris. You can actually Google it and see it for yourself. It has one of the best beaches in Croatia. So
really,
if you're visiting, drop by. You won't regret it. That's definitely sure.
Fair enough. So yeah, I mean, if it goes all the way from 3 to 24, and then I'm looking at the biggest city that we currently have in the game, yeah, you can see just by looking on my screen right now. I mean, that's about the size of that, and then going from
Yeah,
24 to 23, yeah, that's massive.
exactly. So
Okay.
this location will mostly uh, be added in different iterations since it's fairly large, you know. So it will serve as a main landmark on the opposite side of the map, and you can expect a fairly large place of interest packed with different loot and containing some minor poise in itself, like gym in the Samobor that's protected with suicide puppets and has
Yep.
some military crates. Yeah, you can expect some similar things in this place of interest as well.
Awesome, awesome. Are you able to ride any of the water slides?
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's a minor interaction that could be implemented. I mean,
Sure.
we'll primarily focus on more important things, but if we get the time, yeah, why not?
All right. And then I guess that would bring up next on the list is number 4, right?
Number four is the marshalling yard, or as we call it, classification yard.
Okay.
Uh, so the most important parts of the marshalling yard are actually railway tracks and storage depots. So this part of the island was very important for distribution of resources to other parts of the island. And in a manner, it's quite similar to the train yard on the main island. It's defended with sentries and offers a wide variety of loot, including military-grade crates. And if one day we do introduce trains into the game, this will be one of the major stations, story-wise.
Yeah, you can see the train system connecting the red dotted line. For those of you that don't know, connecting all the way from 4. I mean, it goes all the way up into the mainland.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
pretty
it
pretty far up in there.
connects to the train yard in the mainland. Yeah.
And I'm just now realizing this, like as like because now I'm actually zooming in on everything and actually really taking into account the detail. So that means is there going to be like a little railroad bridge that cuts over the number 25?
Yes, exactly.
So that's another way to get to the island strategically.
We're adding a bunch of bridges into the game. You can see on the map, actually.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like five, six, seven of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's going to be massively important because one of the main things I think of is okay, if and you know, I don't know what's, you know, what your guys' plans are with, you know, this coming
Mhm.
out and then adding boats or boats coming out and then adding this, but as it stands, there are currently not boats in the game. So the only means of access you guys would have to the southern part of this little island is 1, 2, 3. Now that we have the railroad, 4, 4 bridges. So if it was just one bridge and only one entrance, I mean, noobs aren't getting across. I mean, you could literally
Yeah,
just crowd that
yeah.
bridge and then never let anybody through. But 4 definitely leaves a lot more room open.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be a great places for ambush either way.
Yeah,
But
either way, no matter what. Yeah.
yeah, but since we're adding, ships into the game, you're going to have more options to access the mainland or the smaller island part of the map. So you can kind of, go across.
Sure.
Either way, if you want to get there by car, you're going to have to use the bridge.
100%. 100%. And so number 4 is going to be the train yard railway area, and that
Yep.
leads all the way up to number 7, which I guess we can get into that in a little bit after we get to the other numbers first.
Hmm.
But I wanted to ask this, I guess, before I forget, because I was going to wait till later on, but I think it would make sense to ask it now. So a big question that I had, what the first thing that I thought of, well, technically the second thing I thought of after I first saw this little new addition is, what had you guys wanting to add not only an island area, but to the southern part of the map and not expanding to like the eastern, northern, or western side of the map?
We kind of thought that expanding towards the more, uh, like coastal part of the map with more islands and more water surfaces would play well with additional boats into the game. It will kind of, like spread out the gameplay more
Yeah,
around the map. If you look at the main island currently, like the gameplay is mostly, like just coastal gameplay. It's not much of difference when it comes to engagements and people fighting PvE. It's all done in like forests, woods, hills. This way, we can actually, create some interesting scenarios. People are going to hold places of interest. People are going to shoot from bridges. People are going to be traversing the sea with boats. People are going to be shooting from boats. People are going to make bases on the islands and defend them. it's going to be much more, adrenaline packed.
Yeah, it seems like it. And like you said, it's a variety. I mean, instead of, you guys got your mountainous area, you got your forest region, your coastal regions, you even have some plains regions. But here we're going to have, almost kind of like little island hopping area. So there's going to be, a difference in the gameplay down there. But yeah, with boats, it's going to make everything in the game way more diverse. And now that you're saying that, a big part of you guys adding this, southern portion of the map is because of the boats, that makes so much more sense. Because I was wondering that, when you guys first started talking about boats, like, boats are going to be cool, but I mean, you can really only go on the, I guess, well, if it was flipped over, the Western Ocean area, and then a little bit on the southern area. But now you have all this new playable area. When we're talking about the bridges too, I mean, those are something you're gonna be able to drive under, right? I mean, that should probably go without saying, but like drive your boats under, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, cool. And I haven't seen anybody ask this in the comments yet, but building on the bridges, is that gonna be prohibited, or is that gonna be like up to server owner?
Well, I mean, when it comes to that, you can easily imagine the amount of abuse if you allow it on official servers, and you can imagine the amount of rage it's going to create, mostly towards noobs, as you mentioned.
100%, yeah.
So it's probably going to be an option to toggle on private servers. I mean, we don't want to, prohibit anything to our player base. If they want to build on the bridges, why not? I mean, it's their server, their rules. Enjoy it.
Sure.
It's just another option that's gonna, be a little plus in the game.
Absolutely, that makes sense to me. Okay. So I mean, I want to stop here for a second because I haven't really been able to look at the chat. We've been kind of going back and forth, I think pretty smoothly. But I want to make sure that if you guys have any questions about anything we've said so far up to this point, that we can try to answer them. I mean, so about any of the stuff between points of interest 1 through 4, the bridges, anything that comes up that you guys want to ask right now. So I want to make sure you guys are getting your opportunity as well. Some of these comments are crazy. Rideable torpedoes. Ask about metal walls. Well, what exactly would you like me to ask? I want to know if we're going to see a train, but I feel like I know what the answer is. Well, I don't know if you were here a second ago, but he just spoke about how trains are something they're trying to potentially implement later on down the road, but I don't think there's a time frame or even a guarantee that that's happening, right?
Yeah, I can't guarantee anything, but we do have it somewhere in our brains, reserved for later.
No problem, Stabby. No problem. You're fine. How about building docks? Ooh, that's a really good question. Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
That's something that is actually addressed further down the line. The next number, actually number 5, is small shipyard, so we can talk about it.
Really? Yeah. So let's hop there, and we'll lead that question right into that then. And is that going to be? You said number 5.
Yeah, number 5 is a small shipyard. It's not the only one on the map, but it's the one we have to disclose on the map for the time being.
Sure.
This is directly tied to the addition of ships into the game. This is the place where players will be able to repair all kinds of ships, and they will also find ship parts to upgrade their existing vessels. So the idea is to let the players repair improvised rafts and smaller tier ships in the wild by their skill. And the factory-made ones of the higher class will require random machinery, similar to the drill press. And that machinery can only be found in shipyards spread across the coast.
Wow. And the immediate thing that pops into my head is, so when you say, players will have the option to build rafts or, larger vessels, so is there going to be different tiers, or is it literally you can build a raft or you can build a boat? Or you guys actually have like larger, smaller boats, things like that, or at least is that even thought about yet?
For starters, I think we're going to start small. We're going to offer some variations to the improvised rafts, and we're going to offer some factory-made boats that could be found all around the island. And as we progress with the development, we'll probably add more and more tiers of ships into the game, probably yachts, And also, what I have to mention is, someone asked the question is, are players going to be able to build docks? And the answer is most likely yes. There's going to be a base building alternative that will enable players to repair their ships in their bases.
That is amazing. So I mean, that's something that adds an entire new element that I didn't even consider to the game. But yeah, basically a place you can park your boat too, besides doing whatever repairs or any of that kind of stuff you want to do on them as well. Pathfinder's actually in here, and I just realized he asked a question too. He says, "Is there any ideas of increasing player cap at this point?"
Most likely not from our side, because we have to be very, very careful with the performance issues.
That makes sense.
We have to test everything, like from bottoms up. And if we do see that the new engine version offers some major improvements in performance, and we manage to optimize everything we have in mind, then possibly. But currently, I can't really promise any player increase from our side.
Okay. And somebody says we're gonna need rum if the game is gonna have boats,
Yeah.
which is fair.
Can't see why not. I'm going to write it down. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely got to have rum. I feel that you got to get your Pirates of the Caribbean going while we're up there in Croatia. All right. Are we getting additional PvE elements like wolves that have been teased? And is there any more or any progress against people who log out in bunkers just to loot directly after server restart? So I don't know how much you guys have, been following everything that's been going on, but yeah, the wolves have been teased. That is something that is going to be, I as far as I know, very quickly added into the
Yes.
game. So
You're completely right. Wolves are mainly finished, and they're going to be added into the game really, really soon. And we're not going to stop just at wolves. That's something we are going to implement by the end of the year. And in the next year, you can look forward to more PvE elements like extra monsters, NPCs, and etc.
that's awesome. I know that's huge for a lot of people that play the game because I was surprised. I haven't been playing Scum for a very long time. I think I'm going on about a month of streaming it now. And one of the big things I notice is usually open world survival games, it's mostly multiplayer. Like most people play multiplayer. I'm not very aware of people not doing that. But in Scum, there's a pretty decent amount of people that play either single player or just run solo on multiplayer servers. So I think that, PvE will make a big difference to them.
Yeah, that's true. We actually did a little poll some time ago, and we actually asked our community to to tell us if they play single player, if they play multiplayer in a large team or solo, etc. And I think like 20% of the player base was actually playing solo, single player.
No kidding.
Yeah,
I didn't know it
that's
was that
actually,
high.
yeah, it's a really, really large amount. I'm guessing it's just noobs that are trying to, adapt to the game and then join the multiplayer service. And that's like a completely right way to do it.
Absolutely. That way, you're sitting there learning, finally starting to figure out how to build a base, and then somebody comes up and whacks you. It's like there's not much you could do there. So yeah, it makes sense to start out in single player and then
Yeah.
move on from there, unless you have an
And our
entire
community,
crew.
true, our community is like totally hardcore for the most part.
Right.
And I mean, some things you can see that people do on the videos and YouTube and Twitch, it's amazing. We as developers are sometimes watching videos and we're freaking amazed at the things people come up with and the way they deal with certain situations in the game.
Like
So
sometimes there's
kudos.
just things you guys didn't even consider.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sometimes.
well, awesome. Okay, and then I don't know if anybody's leaving any new questions in here, but I'll be asking more soon. I just want to keep it moving a little bit because we have quite a few numbers to get through. So I guess we'll go to the next one, which is number 6. If you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, okay. So number 6 is not so much exciting as the small shipyard. It's a salt mine. So it's self-explanatory.
Sure.
The real life inspiration was Stone Salt Mine in Croatia, which is one of the oldest preserved salt mines in the world, actually. So salt will be a precious resource used for conserving food for longer periods of time. Players will be able to find salt all around the island, but the salt mine itself will be a place where it's guaranteed to spawn.
I would
So
hope
if you're
so.
gonna, once the cooking rework is done and metabolism rework gets into the game, the food, nutrients, vitamins is going to play a much bigger part in the whole survival part of the game. So you're going to be much more careful with the type of food you eat, the way you eat it, how you preserve it, etc. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
time will
salt's
answer.
going to be big because able to preserve meats and things like that are I feel like something that could be really helpful whenever the new cooking rework and all that stuff comes in.
Yep.
But all right, yeah, not super duper mega interesting, but that is something that's going to be a key part of the game in future. So I mean that is really important that we know what its use is, what it's for, and obviously its location. So that I guess that would be the question I would have. So are these places that you're telling us, these are actual confirmed locations, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, just making sure.
I mean, not all locations that are going to be implemented are on that map. So those are just locations that we're 100% sure that will be there for the time being. But
Sure.
we're going to add a lot more places of interest over time. Some are going to be smaller, some are going to be bigger, but we can talk about it in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love to hear that. Um, that's one of the biggest things I think with this game is you guys just seem to be even now, adding all these new updates, all these new patches, and constantly reaching out. And you guys are so responsive when it comes to the community. Like you have no idea how easy it was to get a hold of, Tomislav, the lead dev. How it's not that easy to get a hold of people usually, and he's very easy to get a hold of. Work with everybody. And it sounds like you guys are really listening to what we're saying, and I freaking love that. I can't say that enough.
That's great to hear because that's one of the things that we are really proud of, you know. And we're happy that community recognizes that. So we're going to do
Absolutely.
great things together. Thank you for the support, guys.
Yeah. Everybody in chat. I mean, everybody who's watching right now. Thank you for showing up, and it shows that you guys are interested in what they have to say. And we're not done. There's a lot we still get to talk about this map. I'm still excited. So I guess we're moving on to number 7, which looks like
Oh,
a
no,
little naval area.
no, actually, number 7 is probably the most important location on this part of the island.
Really?
Yeah, that's actually a ferry cargo port. So it could actually be the most important location of the whole island, not just that part. So this is the place that serves as the main port on the island. And this is where prisoners, supplies, and Tech 1 specific cargo is imported by the sea routes. It's well connected to everything with the railway, road, water. It will be very well defended, and it will offer top-tier loot. NPCs will be stationed there one day, and you can also expect a big part of the Tech 1 side of the story missions to take place there.
Wow. So you're talking about like friendly NPCs, right?
Not necessarily. It will most likely depend on which side of the story you're going to go with. So you will have options which side you're going to side with over the course of the storyline. So it will probably be hostile for 50% of players and not hostile for 50%.
Interesting. I wasn't even aware of any mechanics like that. So that's pretty cool. Okay.
I mean, it's something I can't talk about right now, but
Sure. But little hints for you guys. We'll drop a little
yeah,
hints for you. There you go.
exactly.
Okay, cool. So yeah, well, maybe we'll talk about that at a later date. But yeah, so basically it's a ferry depot, and so there's gonna be NPCs. So is there like a possibility of like actual ferries like coming in from maybe a different land somewhere else that are bringing in supplies to the NPCs or something like that? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, sure.
Wow. Yeah, see seeing anything like that getting implemented is going to be insane because I mean, there's obviously not currently anything like that in the game, so that's going to be a really big step to get to see stuff like that. Cool, right? And so yeah, that's a location I'm definitely going to be looking forward to. Now I'm searching where's number 8. Can I skip it? Hold on here. Oh, okay. So we're back on the mainland here. All right. So it looks like a little bit up the river. So once again, for anybody that's just now hopping in, the map is flipped over, literally just straight vertical. So this is actually going to be going towards the south if you're looking up this way. But now we're back on the mainland, is where it's showing number 8. So this is something that's going to be added up here, right?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so number 8 is Brick Factory. Self-explanatory, as before. It's a place where you'll find bricks for base building upgrades and building advanced structures in the future. So when we're talking about base building reworks that are taking place right now, I think someone in the chat mentioned metal walls before.
Yes, yeah, they said mention more about that. Yep.
Yeah, we're actually reworking the whole palisade systems, and we're going to have wooden walls, upgraded wooden walls, metal walls that will also be upgraded. And as time goes by, we're going to enable players to upgrade their buildings and make new buildings. So bricks are going to be one important resource to consider in the future. So after metal, you're probably going to upgrade to a brick structure and you're going to reinforce it. So Brick Factory is going to be the main source of bricks on the island. You will be able to find them on the other parts of the island as well, but Brick Factory itself is going to guarantee mass spawns of bricks there.
Awesome. And I do always, the first thing that pops when we say bricks and building, I mean, is there a potential for any brick chimneys to be able to add onto your house?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, for starters, we're going to start implementing new base building variations one step at a time.
Sure.
Since it's a very, very large process.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm looking for your guys and your suggestions in the future. Make sure to drop by our forums, and you have a neat little sub-forum there called suggestions, and you can leave your suggestions there, and we'll make sure to note every single one of them and consider it.
And are you? Yeah, that's usually a question I ask at the beginning of these things, and I didn't. So, for those of you that weren't listening, so I always ask, where is the best location? I'm just gonna have you repeat it once more for those that weren't paying attention. So, where is the best place for people who are interested in this game's development, people who have suggestions they want to offer to make the game better? Where is the best place for them to offer that?
Forums, Steam forums, I think.
Steam forums. Okay. So yeah, for guys out there who have any awesome suggestions that you think would be really cool to put into SCUM, head over to the Steam forums and make sure that you do it there, because that's going to be where they're most likely to get them.
We get them over Discord as well, but Discord is much faster than Steam forums. And,
yes.
Steam forums are slow and messages tend to stick a bit, so you get to read through all of them, every day practically.
Yeah, Discord can get moving really fast sometimes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so luckily, number 9, I don't even have to look for, is right beneath number 8. So once again, we're still in the mainland area. What is number 9 all about?
Number 9 is Junkyard. So this is a place that's going to contain a lot of scrap metal, vehicle repair kits, toolboxes, nails, bolts, etc. So to put it simple, a lot of stuff used for crafting. Possible car upgrades, in the same manner as shipyards, will be used for boats. So this is a place where you will be able to upgrade your cars in the future. Since the plan is to enable players to upgrade their vehicles one day, in a similar manner to the Mad Max movies, if you watched them, I guess you did.
Yeah. Are you saying that because you're seeing my stream right now and you're seeing my look?
I'm digging your look, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, yeah, dude. Yeah. I'll take the Mad Max any day, man.
So this will be a place to find those vehicle
cool.
parts and upgrade them, and pimp up your rides, basically.
So when you say Mad Max, that obviously I'm going to be thinking about putting sheet metal on the sides of your vehicle, maybe even adding push knees on the front where
Exactly.
You can bump off of stuff, or even potentially blades and things like that. I don't know.
Actually, the first game we made before SCUM, Gas Guzzlers, is a game about cars shooting it out in the arenas, practically Mad Max style, racing with a lot of shooting. So
Sure.
we have a lot of experience when it comes to that part of gameplay, and we're going to make sure to implement exactly the things you mentioned. Like reinforced metal plates on the cars, spikes, possibly some chain guns, machine guns, etc. So
yeah. Oh, well then I guess that would apply potentially to boats then, right? Is that something you guys are thinking about adding, maybe some sort of guns to attach to boats potentially down the road?
Further down the road, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. That'd be something obviously I'd like to see as well, is maybe in a smaller boat, if there was able to mount a weapon of some sort. I don't know. Or already have a pre-mounted weapon.
I mean, we do have a torpedo factory, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, and see, we're looking in the rivers now. So when you do have boats, are you able to travel up and down rivers?
Yes, you'll be, if you find the number 24 on the map.
Yes.
Northwest. Northwest, yeah. So if you see the sea meeting the river, so you can sail down the canal, and you can go all the way down to 26 at the bottom of the map.
Woo! Yeah, that makes a massive difference, because I feel like traveling by boat would probably be a lot safer than even traveling by car. Um, and if you're able to, so let's say you don't want to build a base, you want to have a boat, and you want to be able to store a base, but you don't want to put it somewhere on the island, because I feel like once the island goes live, I feel like everybody's going to be trying to make their way down there, and it's going to be pretty hot.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot spot.
Yeah. And I mean, especially with all the new locations that you're adding into it. So, if you build your base, up towards here, but you can drive your boat all the way up there, that's going to leave a lot of room for, other activities that you could do. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can also transport resources by boat. So it's going to make your life a bit easier if you're building somewhere near the coast.
Yeah. So storage, kind of like we have on the cars right now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right. And let's see, that put us at number 9. Do you have anything to say before number 10?
Number 9 was Junkyard. So we're now on number 10, right?
Yes.
So I don't know. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, that's what. How about we do that every 5 or so? We'll kind of allow everybody to ask questions. That makes sense, right? Question: what about marshal plants, swamps, radioactivity, etc.? So, I guess we'll start with swamps. Is there any swampy areas planned near the coastal?
Yeah, actually, the areas near the number 26 on the map are probably going to be swampy. And what we're trying to do is implement different terrain factors that are going to influence player and vehicle movement, depending on which terrain they're traversing.
So slower in a swamp, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. And I mean, I guess you guys could add, because you guys do a lot of things like this already. Like maybe even when you're going through there, you get muddy boots or something, and that makes it a little bit heavier, or I don't know, stuff like that. I think would be also very cool.
Also, once we implement the new disease system, you're going to have to be more careful in the swampy areas, since you're going to pick up some nasty diseases there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that gives you guys something a little bit to think about there.
These are little hints that we are going to throw from here.
Little hints, just little hints. Okay. And then his next question, I guess we'll finish off with what he was saying, is radioactivity. I don't think there's any plans for radioactivity, right?
It's quite possible that we're going to implement some areas of the map. They're going to have various hazards, but those areas will probably hold some kind of special loot or mission items the players are going to have to reach to conclude a story mission or something like that.
Sure. That makes sense.
Adding those kinds of areas, around the island is going to, emphasize the strategic elements of gameplay. So,
yeah,
it's not just, you're going to be running around. You're going to actually meet an area that's going to be filled with poisonous gas, and you're going to have to use a respirator or a gas mask to traverse it, right?
Yeah, that sounds intense. The next question up was unknown. British man says, will there be different hairstyles and facial hairstyles, or I guess newer ones that are planned?
Yes, most definitely. We have 20 different face scans in reserve. They're just waiting to be implemented, and we're going to implement more different hairstyles, beard styles, mustache, whatever you can think of. But it's not a big priority at the moment. We have to deal with much more important stuff currently, and we're going to leave the cosmetics for later.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Let's see. Handle more mustache. I assume with the updated players, the best large swamp ass confirmed. Some of you guys, man, you guys kill me with these comments. Oh man, it's going so fast. Any plans for tracking players by using a focus mode, or seeing footprints in the snow or anything like that?
That's something that we're going to disclose in the near future, so I can't talk about it right now. But we are doing some changes in that part of the game.
Right. Question: with a larger map coming and more vehicles inherently happening with the arrival of boats, how will you improve desync issues, specifically weather influence, i.e., rainstorms? Bit of a loaded question, but go ahead. I guess if you want to answer that.
I mean, it's like I can't go into
Right.
technicalities
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, but what I can say is that we're completely aware of the possible issues that are going to happen, especially when we mentioned the new atmospheric lighting that's coming, skylight, clouds, rain, fog systems, all the post-processing happening around. Uh, we do have our minds focused on that, and that's our main priority to sort those issues out before we, start adding more things into the game. Optimization is our main priority.
Right on. All right. Are there any plans to add something like a wheelbarrow or some other way to transport logs and building materials more easily, especially for solo players?
Yes, we're going to add wheelbarrows, and we're going to have both improvised versions and factory-made ones that could be found around the island. Also, when we mention wheelbarrows, we can go a bit further, and we can say that we're going to make some sort of wooden cart that you will be able to drag. Multiple people will be able to drag them around, carry more sorry, more weight. And also you'll be able to have uh, cars that are going to be tied up to your vehicles, and you'll be able to transport more stuff that way.
Oh, cool. Like a tow along trailer type thing?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's something that's planned. I don't know exactly when it will happen.
Sure.
Most likely, we're going to start with smaller wheelbarrows for single player use, etc., and we're going to take it out from there.
I mean, so far, every time we answer something, it sounds like you guys are thinking of a lot of these things. It's just, the actual process of implementing them is a little different.
Yeah. Uh, uh, we have to emphasize that SCUM is like the largest open world survival game made on the Unreal Engine currently, and we're really pioneers when it comes to certain things here. We
Yeah,
have to, yeah. So there are a lot of things that we will really be happy to implement into the game, but we have to be very careful not to disturb the balance of things that are currently in the game, and also we have to be very careful with the performance. So uh, when you say that we sound like we have a lot of things planned for implementation, we do, but we have to be very careful with what we promise to the community. So every time I say something, I have to emphasize that it's planned, but I can't promise 100% that it will be implemented.
sure. That makes sense. I mean, like you already said, I mean, there's no rule book for where you guys are headed.
Yeah.
You're in
Yeah,
uncharted territory at this point.
exactly. We really want to make the best survival game out there, and we want to make the community as happy. But at the same time, we have to be very careful because there are technical limitations.
All right. And I'll try to answer some more questions in a moment. I do want to keep moving on to the next five, and then I'll try to go back and read some of the questions that were happening. They're coming in pretty fast. You guys got a lot of questions, but anything that wasn't answered, I'll try to make sure that we can figure out a way to answer them. If you guys are already in our Discord server, let me go ahead and leave the link for you down here if you aren't already in it. But I plan to do more of these, obviously pending whatever you guys actually want to do on the dev side of it. I want to do more of these with you guys. This is a lot of fun to literally delve into new things and talk about what's happening with the game. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, or want to talk further about the game, or you just need people to play with, we literally have an entire Discord server full of people that do. So there you go. But we had just done 10, so I think we're going to move it on to number 11 now.
Actually, I don't think we tackled number 10. I think we finished with the 9 right now.
Oh, you're right. Yep, let's go ahead and hit 10. You're right.
10 is really juicy, so that's why I remember we didn't
You're like,
go
no. I gotta say 10. All right.
So, okay, when I start describing number 10 to you, you're probably going to be disappointed at first, but as I continue explaining, you're going to get more and more excited. So let's go with it.
Let's do it.
Number 10 is a large hospital. So it's similar to the sanatorium that's currently in the game, but it's bigger and it's better equipped. Inside, you'll be able to find special machinery. That's probably going to be a medical version of the drill press. So there you will be able to upgrade your character with artificial limbs one day. And that's going to be skill level dependent. So that's the main idea behind it. It all depends on how much time we have for development and potential problems we have to solve beforehand, but that's the idea. So you'll be able to create some kind of cyborgs or something, computer implants, etc. Something like a BCU you already have in your prisoner head, but more extreme.
Wait, what? Hold
Yeah.
So hold on. So okay. So implementation of prosthetic limb. So what would be, I guess if you can get into this, what would be the advantage or necessity of having a limb? I mean, does that mean detachable limbs is a thing that is coming, or is this something that you guys are planning for players to use to improve their existing limbs?
Well, both actually. Since we're aiming to, the storyline of SCUM. The story itself is set in the near future, and when you see sentries, when you see, like those little drones, it's obvious that the tech systems are more advanced than what we have right now in real time, right?
Yeah.
So if we go to the extremes and we mention like disease systems, possibly losing your legs one day, maybe losing your eyes, losing your teeth, there are going to be artificial ways to make up for that. Also, if you, I don't know, lose your legs and you implement a cybernetic version of it, you're probably going to save a lot on stamina. But also, at the same time, you're probably going to have to be careful with the amount of power it requires to move around.
Yeah, or maybe not walk through any metal detectors to give away your position.
Sure. So this part of the gameplay is not something we're 100% sure we will do in the future.
Sure.
But it's one of the things that are planned. Yeah.
That is really, really interesting. So, okay. So if that's something that's, possibly planned, is another piece to it. You have to have it, just like with lock picking, just like with building, and there's going to be players that can put points into this ability or skill rather. So the player that doesn't have that skill won't really be able to do it, but the player that can assist the other one. So can basically build a prosthetic limb for them. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Cool. So they could be like the little surgeon of the group. I get. New class. Yep. All right. So that's got a lot. Obviously, there's not, I'm sure, much you can say on it right now, so we're going to leave that to brush back on at a later time. But that is a very, very intriguing feature to the game. So I guess we'll have to see. Okay, so we knocked out 10. That is definitely juicy. Number 11. All right, I see 12. Oh, there is 11. Yo, that looks like a track or a stadium. What the hell is that?
Yeah, you were right the first time. It's a racetrack. When you do look at the map, you could easily mistake it for a stadium, but it's not a stadium. There's just a placeholder size. It was actually inspired by Grobnik Circuit in Croatia. So this location was, it was something that the community demanded and suggested some time ago. It will be built with the role-playing community in mind, since we hear that they hold racing events very often. This will be a place where they can do it. This is also the place where players will be able to drive their vehicles to the limit and find some unique vehicles one day, possibly bikes and special cars, maybe something faster than the usual SUV you find lying on the island.
That sounds cool. The first thing that pops into my head is obviously you guys may not be including anything like this, in official servers, but like something that a server owner could do with it is you guys could bring your cars there, and you guys could have like a little rally. Is that's like have like a competition with like rally cars where you drive around and like complete the laps or whatever, whoever finishes first type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That could be cool. That could be real cool. But yeah, okay, so that's interesting. Yeah, because there's nothing remotely close to a track on the map currently, right?
Not really. I mean, you can drive around the airport, but you're risking your life. So.
No kidding. No kidding. Okay, so number 12 puts us over here in a much more populated area.
Yeah, number 12 is another city, and it's a fairly large one. So
Yeah.
it will be around half the size of the Soundboard, the current biggest city in the game. And it will serve as the main landmark in the area. So if you look at the map, you can connect the Soundboard city that's currently in the game, the hotel resort up north, and this city in a triangle. So every single location is going to serve as a central hub for that part of the map.
Wow. Yeah, and you can drive your boats in there when boats are coming in.
Exactly.
Very, very cool. So that's what I'm talking about right there. Like that alone was kind of what I was getting at. Like just talking about possibilities, which is the thing that I probably like to do most because I think it's what makes this game so unique is the amount of possibilities that players have. But instead of having to, load up the car, drive over to Sandboard, pick all your, take your stuff back to your base, you can literally take a boat all the way up or down the channel, head to the big city. I imagine there may be in this city, is there some boat ramp or somewhere? Because I feel like if this was a city in real life, this would definitely be a central port for shipping. So I mean, is there a place to drive your boats into, or at least pull it up to dock it or something like that?
I mean, sure, it's on the river, and it does look like a river port. So yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, you guys can load up your gear.
Also, what I have to say before we go further, that all the ideas that were mentioned are still a subject to change. So if the community feels like something is too over the top, or they don't like the idea, and if the majority of the community says that they don't like something, we won't implement it. We're listening to you guys. So make sure to visit our Discord, to visit Players 2 Discord, to share your suggestions with us on the forums. We're listening.
Awesome. And they are. Anybody who's been around long enough and is actual fan of this game, I think you guys have come to realize that, they take everything we say into account. I mean, it doesn't mean that every single person ever has good ideas, because I can say whatever I want, and I'll tell you right now that not everybody does. But the good ones out there, the ones that, matter and are a good change to the game or something like that, they've actually implemented them. So anybody who has ideas, make sure you don't, just do nothing with them. Shout them out, let them know. He already mentioned that you guys can do it from the from Steam in the forums. You can do it in my Discord server, you can do it in their Discord server. We talk about all these things. But cool.
I mean, the amount of cool suggestions we had from the community over the years is breathtaking. It's amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, some of the stuff you guys have actually implemented the game didn't just come from you guys, right?
True. A large part of those are like community ideas.
It's amazing. So yeah, 12 is the big city area. So that will be okay. So now that I just realized that, so once the all this new stuff is implemented, the biggest city is going to be number 3. The second biggest city will still be, the current one we already have in the game, and then the third will be number 12.
Yeah. This sounds about right.
Ish, yeah.
Yeah. I think like Soundboard, the current biggest city in the game, and the hotel resort are probably going to be around the same size.
Okay. Wow. All right. And okay, so that's number 12. So number 13, also along the river shoreline. This one has a couple of those green, I think it looks like green dots in it or something like that. What's that all about?
Number 13 is just a camp, more of a nature park than anything. It will be a fairly large lake camp with mobile homes, rafts, kayaks, basically different kinds of boats. And you will also be able to find fishing equipment there. So, not much of a use to hardcore PvE players, but role-playing community is going to like it.
Absolutely. Especially the fishing part of it, which, I mean, anybody's going to... If I have a boat in the game, there's no way I'm not going to want to fish off of it. So... All right, very cool. And number 14 brings us down right beneath that in the very, very... So, once again, this is bottom left on my screen, but this is actually going to be the top right of the map. So, in the very top right portion of the map, what is number 14 about?
Number 14 are military barracks, and it's another military place of interest, obviously. It's very well defended, and it offers high-end military loot for prisoners that are able to bypass the tough security measures. One day it's planned to have special military vehicles stationed there.
Special military vehicles.
Yep.
Like the sound of that. Okay.
That's as much as I'm allowed to say
Yeah.
right now.
You're good. You're good. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So another one of those little things for you guys. All right. So 15 will be next up on the list. So we'll go ahead. All right. So just save your stuff for after 15, your questions. We'll talk about 15, and then I'll let you guys ask some more. So 15, I don't think is in that area at all, is it?
15 actually is tied to more areas on the island that will come at the same time.
Oh, I see it right there.
Yeah, we kind of grouped it into a single number. You have one in the top northwest corner, and you have one in the middle.
Yep.
North. Yeah. So those were going to be towns with ship ports, so larger shipyards, etc. They're similar to coastal cities. They're already on the map with one key difference. These towns will act as the best place to find civilian ships. So they will still spawn across the island, but going here will practically guarantee a factory-made ship spawn for players.
Wow. Okay. So will there be ships there that aren't able to be driven that are just part of the aesthetic that we can actually maybe hop aboard of and search?
Possible, yeah.
Okay. That seems like a pretty cool town. So I mean, obviously, boat parts. So is that something that you guys have talked about? So, you look for batteries or toolboxes or little things here and there, car parts. Will the parts be separate for boats than they are for the cars?
Some will be shared, but most will be separate.
That's what I thought. Okay, cool. Because boats you're gonna have bilge pumps, different type of engines, all sorts of different types of stuff.
It's not completely compatible, so.
No. yeah. I drove a small boat when I was in the Navy, so I know a little bit. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. But very cool, very cool. Okay. So those will obviously be a pretty important place to go for repairing boats or picking one up in your actual factory built boats. Okay. And then 16 looks to be the same exact thing as 15, not the same location, but there's multiple locations like you guys said there was with 15, right?
Yeah, 16s are actually villages, like standard villages that we already have on the map.
Okay.
They're all for like common loot with maybe a few police stations here and there. They're, like smaller in size and, easy to raid.
Yeah. And you even have one over on this little tiny island over here. So is this something that you would actually be able to swim to, or you would need a boat to get over to the one in the north east section?
It depends on your, athletic skill.
Mm.
Yeah.
Probably how much you're carrying too.
Yes, exactly.
Almost drowned the other day. I'm very aware of that now.
But I mean, you will be able to construct a primitive raft and just drift over there. It will take some time, but
sure,
you don't have to worry about drowning.
So, I mean, is that something we should expect or might expect, whenever this map area is released, so that players know they have other means to get to these little islands?
What I'm fairly certain is that the map expansion is going to happen probably before the ships are implemented into the game.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's what I have in mind currently, but it's also possible that it's going to be implemented at the same time. We're going to have to wait and see. Probably Tom is going to have more details his Twitter over the next few days.
Yeah, that I totally understand that. So everybody be ready to see what Tommy posts on Twitter. But yeah, because that's what I was thinking. Is like if no boats are in and you have a character that can't make it over there, that might not be somewhere you can go yet until then. So I think I could probably speak for the entire community that if at very least, it doesn't have to be this way, but if at very least, before we implement all the factory built boats and the pretty boats, improvised rafts, I think would be fair to put in first. And I'm sure you guys are probably already thinking that.
I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah, and I don't mean before you do the islands and all that. I just mean basically as in before we put all the other boats in, just to try out the rafts first, because I feel like that would probably be easier than the bigger boats. I don't.
It's probably, like a standard procedure. We start with smaller things and then we build up from there.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay. So that's pretty cool. And 17 looks like it's just in the middle of the water. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, let me
So
stop for a second. I forgot to let everybody do questions after 15, so let's stick to our word, I guess. Um, so if that's cool with you, I will take a couple more questions.
yeah, completely fine by me.
Okay. All right, let me see if I can go back a little bit and see if any were asked a second ago. Okay, we got question. And actually, that would be a lot easier. So some of you I see typing question before your question. If you type that in, I'm able to see it a lot quicker. So just so you're aware, it actually helps out a lot. Will there be some kind of aircraft later?
I'm not sure about aircraft, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to have some sort of kites, or
Okay,
like uh, parachutes, etc.
like maybe even like a glider or something like that.
Yes, yes, exactly.
That's actually really cool. I had I had no idea anything about stuff like that. That could be very cool, especially if you had like a mountainous base. Good way to exit. Okay. And ooh, are we going to be able to drag people or even kidnap and someone and throwing them into like the back of a pickup truck?
So this is a tough nut. you know,
Yeah.
you have to be aware of the amount of rage that would cause to other players if they lose the control of their characters. So
Yeah.
currently in the game, you can, with players' permission, you can tie their hands behind their back, and you can put a bag over their heads, and soon you will be able to put them in a cage. So
Hey, that's interesting. Okay.
yeah,
So is this
yeah.
a cage that you would like potentially build, or you'd have to find it on the map somewhere?
It's gonna be part of base building elements that are gonna get implemented soon. So yeah,
That would be so crazy. Like you stay here, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go out and hunt, and like somebody comes to like raid your base, and you have like 3 or 4 guys sitting in a cage there, and they unlock
yeah.
them and let it. That would be actually some really intense gameplay.
Like
Okay.
the cage itself is gonna have uh, one slot for the lockpick. So you can lock it, and you can leave one lockpick to the imprisoned player and have fun.
That would be fun. All right. We recently got the first iteration of weapon holsters. Are we going to get more? Oh man, hold on. Are we going to get more of those like dual holsters or military holsters or anything that looks different than
Yes,
those?
yes, yes. The current weapon holsters that are in the game are supposed to be the improvised version. But since we're taking our time to finish the factory-made ones, professional holsters, we just implemented these as a spawned item so people can test them and see if they're functioning okay, if they like them, etc. So when we implement new holsters, these ones are going to become improvised ones, and new ones are going to be spawned across the island.
Very cool. Next guy says new clothes. Any new clothes coming?
Yeah, I mean, for starters, some. I think Tomislav actually teased some gloves recently on his Twitter, but all around, yeah, we do have some new clothes in the works.
Can we expect some kind of a disassembling weapon, Tarkov style? What was the end of the question? Tarkov style in the future, using multi tools or anything like that?
Uh, I'm not really sure. It's
Yeah.
possible, but it's not something that we're really focused on at the moment.
All right. It says ask about door protection. Will they add more slots for locks and traps indoors?
Yes, most likely yes.
Okay. Any new guns coming?
Yes. Uh, I mean, depends on the word gun,
Yeah.
if that's okay.
Awesome, awesome. And are they going to have drawbridges in the game now since we can go across the rivers and ocean? And my question I would want to add to that is, I mean, or will we probably not even need them from the height of the bridges?
Yeah, currently the plan is to have the bridges very high, but in the future, if we implement larger ships into the game, there are probably going to be some drawbridges as well.
Awesome. Yep. We'll be able to wear hoodies. By that I mean the hat part. Oh, like actually put up the hood on a hoodie? Is that something? Is that? I guess that's what he's asking. Does that sound like something you guys are considering?
Yeah, the same thing applies to the raincoats. First time they were implemented into the game, they had like the hoodies down and the hoodies, you know, back up. but we had to switch one version because it was clipping to all the rest of the clothes and helmets and everything. So in the future, yeah, you will be able to toggle your hoods on and off.
All right. And just a couple more, guys, then we're going to move on for now. But any news about any new tools for admins?
Yes, that's one of the main things that we are focusing as well.
Awesome.
We really want to give you guys as much options as possible to create your perfect playground in the game. So if you can have more control, you will get it.
All right. And will there be any diving or scuba gear?
Yes, there will. I mean, you can't implement water, right? Swimming and everything with diving let out of it, you know?
Of course not. Of course not. We go on some deep sea diving trips, guys. And well, then I would want to add to that too. If there is going to be deep sea diving, is it just going to be just to do for fun, or are you guys potentially going to put lootable objects or things under the water?
Yeah, yes, they're going to be like places of interest. They're going to be submerged. They're probably going to be some, remains of submarines, ships underneath the surface. Also, when we come to number 20 on our list, we can talk about that.
Okay.
I will speak a bit more.
Yeah, I was going to ask about underwater caves too, but I mean, is that something you guys have even thought about? Or
Yeah. I mean, with the expansion of the map, there are a lot of minor locations that we're going to implement as well. So new TV bases, World War II bunkers, caves, gas stations, etc. Car locations, boat locations. It's not something that we're like emphasizing at the moment because we have a lot of places of interest that are taking the spotlight.
Sure.
But yeah, you guys, you can expect a lot of caves around as well.
Awesome. Okay. So I think that puts us at, well, we didn't do 17. We were stopping at 17. So I guess if you want to explain what is there only one of 17?
17 is probably going to be a few of them.
Okay.
For the time being, it could be just only one, but more will be added over time.
Oh, I see one right here.
Yeah, it's an ordinary shellfish farm. So it's a place of interest that will serve as a good food source, mainly fish and clams. And it will also be a great place to practice your fishing skill once we implement it into the game.
Really? So, Shellfish Farm. So is that something you'd be able to do from your boat?
Yeah, you can do it from your boat, and some will be close to the coastline, so you'll be able
Cool.
to do it from
That's what I was going to ask, because yeah, not not everybody's going to be able to get a boat right off the bat. I imagine if well, I mean, I guess you could always have a raft, but I was going to say if people are going to try to grab those pretty quickly when the factory ones come in. But that's cool. So is that something, I guess, if you catch those and you load them up, is that something you could cook? I would imagine.
Yes, it will be a part of a lot of cooking recipes as well.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. All right. So we got 17. So we're going to go on to 18 now. And there's a couple of these, and now they are labeled with a red circle. So what's the deal with the red circle?
Is there any chance you can guess what that is? Just based on the location of the circles.
Well, they're on islands, so I would imagine some type of lighthouse, maybe.
Exactly. Good guess.
Yeah, and they're really close to the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah, lighthouses are like community favorites when it comes to base building on private servers, right?
Yeah.
So we're kind of guessed we can offer more of those. Yeah.
Okay, and so are those planned to be functional or something that you could make functional?
They will probably be functional in the future, but not
Not in the first iteration.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, not in the first iteration. That's right.
Okay, cool. Okay. All right, but yeah, that is cool. I'm excited to see lighthouses. And 19. Let's move it on to that. Where is 19 at?
19 is like southwest part of the map.
Oh, okay. So right down there near the very, very bottom. All right.
Yeah. So those are going to be waterfalls, and these landmarks they're like inspired by a real life location in Croatia, Plitvice Lakes National Park, and it's the biggest and oldest Croatian national park. Players can expect a lot of wildlife here, and this includes both land animals and different kinds of fish. And also, this landmark will include special achievements and will act as an important location for some story missions.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to say the question that always comes into my mind when developers put waterfalls into a map, is there anything planned to be under or behind the waterfalls?
I guess we're gonna have to wait and see, right?
I like that. Okay. Very well. Very well. Because there's nothing I don't know.
I
In
mean,
video games, you always expect something behind the waterfall, right? Of
yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's be realistic. You guys are gonna check it.
of course, we're gonna check it. All right. Very cool. I think the waterfalls are awesome. There isn't any, like I said, for those of you that don't know, I'm still kind of new to SCUM. I've only been playing for a month. I haven't come across a waterfall. That's not something you guys already have in the game, is it?
It's not something that we're like. We have the dam if you want to enjoy it.
Sure.
That's about
Got
it.
it.
Major waterfalls are not in the game yet. No,
Very cool. Very cool.
it's
I
not
mean,
in this size. Yeah.
yeah, I'd imagine there's probably a lot of physics that go, into that. You want to make sure the sound right. It's loud enough, quiet enough. I mean, I guess when it comes to physics, they do get pretty loud. So, I mean, is that something that you guys would consider when attracting, puppets in the area, or?
Yeah, I can see why not.
All right.
I guess our sound guy is going to have a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Waterfalls can get. I mean, depending on the size of it, can get pretty loud. Okay. And then 20 is right next door. Little lake area.
Okay, you remember when I said that we are going to talk about diving when we
Yes.
come to number 20? Okay, so number 20 is a fairly large lake that will most likely be partially frozen and traversable on foot.
All right.
So on the cosmetics part, or purely role playing, you'll be able to ice skate on it someday. But some important story elements will be hidden beneath the ice, and players will have to dive underneath to uncover them.
Ooh. Yeah, definitely gonna
So
need diving gear for that. It gets cold under those kind of conditions.
exactly. Professional diving gear,
Yeah.
a well-trained, skilled player, and you're gonna have to be very, very fast unless you want to freeze to death. So it's gonna take a lot of coordination with your rest of your team, probably.
Absolutely. And another thing that comes into mind too when you mention the all the things we're gonna do on top of a frozen lake, I automatically think ice fishing. So I mean, has that been considered for this
Yes,
area?
yes, most definitely.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Yeah, man. It seems like a lot of these locations that you're talking about, a few of them are involved with the story that you guys are planning through. So I mean, it seems like this is going to be a pretty big part of the game moving forward once it starts to get implemented. I would imagine.
Yes, you're completely right. And also, what we're planning to do is to add a bunch of new achievements into the game over the course of time. So we can tie some new landmarks and old landmarks to special achievements for players.
Cool. All right. So that would bring us. Well, before we get to 21, of course. I mean, this one went by a little bit faster, but we'll answer a few more questions. I think would be fitting. Oh, and it's 69 viewers. Let's keep it there, guys. Let's keep it right there. Don't add any. Nobody hop in. Nobody hop out. Let's keep it right at that. Sounds good. So yeah, question time. Will there be other types of puppets? Well, we already have a little bit of info on that, right?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
He said, will there be other types of puppets?
Yes, yes. I mean, the puppets you currently see in the game are just like lower tier list of puppets that we have in mind. When we say PvE elements, what we're trying to implement is some major threats that will not be puppets, but more like mutated things that Tech One did experiments on the island, and there's a lot of like story background that gives us room for inspiration there. I think Thomas have also teased a flame throwing monster some time ago on his Twitter.
Yeah. Yep.
If some of you remember, so that's a direction we're going with.
Yeah, that one definitely looks like it's going to be a little bit tougher than the regular puppet. So
Yeah, we're talking about mini bosses and like world bosses that were probably going to roam around the island, and it will going to take like coordinated action from a lot of players to take them down.
right on. The next question will be: is it planned to add walkie-talkie to improve communication and immersion in the game?
Yes, most definitely. And what we have in plan is to remove player names from squad displays because I think it kind of ruins the immersion and it kind of offers an unfair advantage to squad players.
Didn't even think
So
about it, but that makes total sense to me. Yeah, I agree.
this is going to be one of those things that will probably going to be optional for private servers. So if you want to enable squad names, you can keep it, or you can just leave it vanilla and have them disabled. Once walkie-talkies come into the game, if you carry a walkie-talkie in your inventory and the other player carries another walkie-talkie, you will see each other on the map, name display, similar as before. But if even one of you drops his walkie-talkie, you won't see his squad name anymore.
Mm.
Also to give solo players a chance here to fight the clans, they will get a special contraption that they can deploy to jam the walkie-talkie signal, so squads lose their name displays completely, and it kind of offers a new tactical approach to solo players for ambushing squads.
Yeah, and you should be able. I'd imagine they're going to have channels, like VHF channels, and you might be able to grab a walkie-talkie and when you get into range, be able to hear what other squads are doing. Right?
Quite possible, yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Okay.
That depends on the amount of resource it's going to take from the game itself and server
Yeah,
performance.
that
Oh
makes
yeah,
sense. Optimization first.
yeah.
Always, always, always. I feel that.
That's
Okay.
our mantra. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Will there be GPS trackers for cars when someone steals one? Or any, I guess they mean any way to tell that somebody stole one in the future.
Yes, I guess there will.
All right. Will lights have crucial matter when on boats at night, like lighthouses, like in really dark nights? Hope it gets way darker in the future. So I guess he's asking, will there be lights on the boats, or is that something you guys have planned?
Yes, of course. I mean, you won't have a light on your improvised raft unless you're carrying a one in your hands, right?
Sure.
But if you find a factory-made boat in one of the ports, yes, it will most definitely have some sort of light source on it.
Are we going to get different weapon camos, maybe improvised ones, which are just a bunch of twigs and leaves strapped to your gun, or anything like that?
Yeah, but those are like more like cosmetics parts of the game, so they're gonna have to wait.
Yeah. Yep. Will they add medical system and cooking before the map?
I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think the map's gonna come first, and medical and cooking systems are gonna come a bit later.
Yeah, I'm on board with wanting the map first. That's going to be my vote.
I mean, I mean the new metabolism and medical skills are gonna come fairly soon,
Sure.
and the cooking is gonna come a bit later after that. So
All right. Well, do we get trailers behind cars to put boats on to transport? So we definitely already talked a little bit about trailers that we can make or find to put on cars. That's something they're talking about. But yeah, is there going to be anything that we may be able to tow a boat with?
I can see why not. If we manage to pull it off, I would be very happy to implement such a thing into the game. I think the rest of the team agrees with that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. According to the lore, during the first season of SCUM, Tech 1 shot down a plane to raise views. Will admins be able to do something like that for private servers, and or will it be holiday style event? Yeah, I'm not aware of that part of the lore. Is that something you're aware of?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, private server owners will, in a manner, function like Tech One. If you look at it, you will be able to, like uh, toggle bounties on players' heads, etc.
Ooh, any plans for larger weapons to take out mechs or any other means of destroying them?
Uh, I mean, we're probably going to implement some sort of like, RPGs, etc. But when we talk about disabling mechs, we're probably gonna go with the AMP type of device.
Ooh.
Something the player, yeah, something the players can craft a bit more easily, and that can disable mechs in a certain radius for a certain amount of time. Something that will enable players to just drop in, loot something, and get out before they're reactivated.
Oh wow. So an EMP, basically chuck it at the mech and it shuts down for a second or goes into like some Fritz electrical thing, and
Yes.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Also, EMPs will affect player BCUs. So the moment the EMP goes off, your metabolism screen, your metabolism page will go off. You won't have
Ooh.
any character input anymore if it hits you.
So you got to plan that accordingly. Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting. And so is that something like you would throw, or is it something you would plant, like you would place it and they would walk by it?
Most likely both versions.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because the plant I could see being pretty easy too, because I mean, if you figure out and master the specific paths that mechs have, because they all have specific paths, then you could figure out where you'd want to place things to plan out
Yeah,
your route.
but here's the thing: the sentries you see right now in the game are not the final version of sentries. We're actually reworking them from the grounds up. They're gonna get a different model, most likely. They're gonna get a much larger arsenal, and they're gonna behave differently.
More erratically, I guess.
Well, if you implement a flamethrower onto a sentry, it's probably going to go after a player and it's going to try to corner him inside of building. And being inside of the building won't prohibit him from frying you, right?
Yeah, especially with a
So
flamethrower.
also, yeah. And if you have like a small group of players, let's say like 3 or 4 of them, stationed not so far away from each other, you can expect a missile barrage from sentry to hit that area.
All right, and then I guess the last question we'll take before is: are they going to update the throwing mechanics a bit more to where it's much more reasonable? I guess is what he's
Yes,
asking.
yes.
Awesome.
That's
Okay.
that's a positive.
Good, good. I like to hear that. All right, so I guess that brings us to what, 21?
Yeah, so actually 21 to 26, those are all bridges, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, let me look around and look at them. See, we got 26. Yep, and yeah, 24 is a bridge. 22. Yeah, I don't see 21, but I imagine it's somewhere.
21 is to the west part of the map, middle on the lake, on the
Oh,
river.
yep. I found it. All right.
Yeah. So those are all like different types of bridges. Some will have railways going over them, some won't, and they're all inspired by real life bridges in Croatia. But the thing I want to talk about right now is sea fortresses. Those will most likely be implemented into the game as well.
What's a sea fortress?
Sea fortress is going to be a small barreled up location in the middle of the sea that will serve as a military checkpoint.
And so maybe I'm missing it, but what exactly would be the potential function of that?
So it's mostly something that Tech One uses on its part of the story mission,
Sure.
and it's something where players could like resupply if they follow the Tech One storyline. Otherwise, if you're going against Tech One, you're gonna get shot if you approach it. So if you just Google Sea Fortress, you can see how they should look.
Kind of want to do that right now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, it's
Something
nighttime.
Yeah, it's similar to the Alcatraz prison.
I think everybody kind of wants to probably see that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Like, if you're looking at the stream, are you talking about something full on crazy like this thing right here? So I can get a bigger image.
Some will be smaller, some will be larger.
Oh, I see. I kind of see what you're saying. Okay. This one's a little
So
bit smaller.
those are also one of the possible additions one day. So it all depends on the direction this expansion will be going in the future.
Very cool. So, I mean, do you guys have any idea whereabouts on the map you guys might put something like that? Or, I mean, is it going to have to be obviously not super close, I would imagine, to the shore?
Yeah, obviously it's going to be somewhere that's further away from the shore.
Okay.
But also we want to see the routes players are going to take when they traverse across the map, and we're probably going to base them on the player movement.
Yeah, that's probably something you don't want to go near if you're against them.
Yeah, we're
um,
going to take some, diagnostics over time and see how you guys move across the map, and then we're going to make your life a bit harder.
Hell yeah! All right. And is that something that so if you're not aligned with Tech One and they're going to be shooting at you, is that something that you go near it, you get shot at, you die, that's it? There's nothing else you can do there if you're against it, or if you're against it, it's a potential raid or
I mean, you can always get in there, right? You just
okay.
have to be either smart enough or you have to have enough guns or firepower with you, you know?
Yeah. So I mean, that's interesting. Yeah. So it is actually something that may be interactive, whether or not you're on that side.
Yes, yes. We don't want to prohibit players from reaching anything in the game. We want to give you guys maximum freedom. So there's not going to be a certain wall in the game that's going to say no, you didn't follow this and this, and you can't go there.
Very well. Besides the fact that we're all prisoners, freedom wise.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean that then the 20s, I guess that would take us to the that's the last numbers on the map then, right?
Yeah, exactly. So aside from that, different places of interest, you'll also get different kinds of fish, sea life, sharks as well, and you'll also be able to surf.
Like with the surfboard?
Yeah.
Woo! Where exactly on the map would you guys have that plan? Obviously, the intercoastal areas probably aren't going to be the best places to surf, I would imagine, because of lack of wake. But I mean, would you want to go towards the outer rim of the island?
I'm going to leave that to you guys to decide once we implement it, right?
Fair enough. Okay. Um, and sharks, obviously, that's not something you would want to swim near, right?
No, most definitely not. I mean,
Okay.
they can mistake you for a seal and just eat you, right?
We don't want that. Yeah, that happens to a lot of surfers out there. Okay.
Yep.
Um, And let me see. So I think I've been getting blown up with questions. I guess we can take a few more questions, but I think the biggest question of all, and I know that it's not really a question that you could probably answer indefinitely or even estimate, but the of course question that I have to ask you is there any idea on some sort of possible time frame where we might be able to start seeing this map?
Uh, yeah, it's not something I can talk about in specific dates. All I can say is soon, and we're planning to release it before the end of the year. That's all we can say right now.
Okay, well I like that. I mean that's at least leaving us a little hope to be able to see something like this before the end of the year. I mean there isn't that much time in the end of the year, so I mean we should be seeing
Yeah,
this fairly soon.
yeah.
That's pretty cool. Okay. But yeah. So then with that being said, what questions do you guys have? And then I think it is past your work day and you were still at the office. So after that, I'm going to try to get you the hell out of here.
It's actually 20 minutes to 2 here. Early
Good
morning.
Lord. I didn't even think about the time. Oh my God. It's 2 in the morning. Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, I'm going to get you the hell out of there. Okay.
No, you don't have to worry. This was like extremely fun and pleasant, and I'm glad to talk to you guys about everything.
Well, I think we all can safely say that we very much appreciated it. So, I mean, I really hate to even ask you then. I mean, do you mind answering just a couple more questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Fire away.
All right, so let's try to be quick, guys. I know he's being very kind right now, but I mean it's late. That's we got to be fair. Okay, so I already answered that one. Are they going to? Oh, where'd they go? Oh, you guys are quick. All right. As we themed police vehicles, will there be themed medical vehicles as well, or different faction vehicles?
Yes.
All right. So I guess they would probably be talking about what, like ambulances, things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
I
cool.
mean,
Very cool.
or something less interesting like a postal truck or something like that.
Sure, and even that's still variety, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of digging the idea of the armored transport, for carrying money between banks.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that would be That
Yeah, especially when you guys start implementing all the different customizations and Mad Max style stuff that you can add on to them. That's going to be the one to have.
yeah, this is gonna be a tank.
Woohoo! Oh yeah, because I mean, so do you guys have any intentions of adding some vehicle that would possibly carry more people? Because that's an issue I've ran into a couple times when playing.
Yes, yes,
That
we do have. We don't have anything specific in mind right now,
sure.
but we're open for suggestions. So if you guys have any good suggestions, let us know.
I'm gonna say school bus right off the bat because I feel like that could hold a lot of people, but I don't know the exacts on adding something like that in either. So,
First thing we have to be careful about is not to spawn them in garages, right?
ha! Yes, not getting out of there.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody says Kevin Costner Waterworld. I think that was when we were talking about the fortress. Okay. Are we going to get an animation overhaul for the character? For the character animations and such as running, climbing, or even idle animations. Is there any possibility of reworking those? I don't.
Uh, I don't know if we're gonna rework them, but we're most likely gonna improve them by a large margin,
Cool.
and we're gonna add some more idle animations as well. That's most certainly.
And I think that's what they were getting at anyway. So I hope that answers your
Mhm.
question. But yeah, that should be expected, not to really overhaul, but to really improve upon them. Because in my opinion, in the state they're already in, they already look pretty damn good. So
Yeah, they're functioning, so
yeah.
that's something that's very, very important that they fit in.
All right, and will they expand west side of the map too, so that we can have more water?
So currently, this is the only map expansion we have in plan for now. So we first have to get a lot of diagnostics, see how it all performs. So we were talking about increasing the player size some time ago, right? So
Right.
if everything goes to plan, we plan to like keep this map as it is right now with all the expanded area and be happy with it. But if we do take some major steps in optimizations, then who knows? The sky's the limit, right?
Absolutely.
So
And
for now, just focus on this part of the map, and maybe sometime in the future, who knows? But I can't really promise it. I really doubt it.
very cool. Okay. And the next guy says, will there be any bicycles planned, or which I guess would bring
Yes,
up to motorbikes as well too.
yeah, that's part of the game that community has been asking for a long time right now, and we couldn't finish it because we have some top priority issues to deal with. But we most definitely plan to implement bikes and motorcycles. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Number 11 on the map.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's gonna be the spawn location right there. That has to be. All right. And then he says, will they? Nope. As we have no, we already answered that question before the heat death. Drop zone key already in game will be used to enter any bunkers.
Oh, there's something I can't talk about right now, but Tom is going to talk about it really, really soon. So keep your heads up.
Very good,
There are
very
a
good.
lot. There are a lot of changes coming on that part of the gameplay, including bunkers and base rating as well. So soon, guys, soon.
Are we going to be able to use the winch on a car? So I guess that'd be for like towing another vehicle or pulling it out of a ditch or something like that.
Possible, possible.
Okay. Did anyone ask about growing special plants for medical use?
Yes, most definitely. That's something that's gonna be in the game 100%. You will be able to grow your own plants, even drugs. You will be able to get high in the game as well. So
What? You're
yeah,
saying you can grow the devil's lettuce? Is that what you're telling me right now?
well, I wouldn't call it devil's wells, but
Cool. Okay. Very well. So you heard it here. I guess that's a thing they're thinking about. Um. What was that question? Bus. Yep. Are we going to be able to go down waterfalls with kayaks or canoes?
possible. But I'm not gonna, guarantee you're gonna survive it.
Yeah, I feel like you'd die.
Yeah, I mean, Plitvice National Parks has some very, very tall waterfalls. So if the location is based on them, you're not going to have a good time if you go kayaking down them.
You asked if there was he asked if there's a water park planned, and that's already been answered. Number 3, right?
Yep. Number 3 is going to be a hotel resort with a water park included.
There you go. So yes, that is actually already being added. So there you go, Dutch Wolf. Well, they have different weather aspects: snow, rain, and wind.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool.
I mean, also the temperature is going to be different in different parts of the map, and it's going to affect your character performance as well. So if you're going through the high mountain tops, and if you look at a map, it's going to be at the bottom part of the map. So if you're traversing high mountains, high altitudes, the temperature is going to be lower, and you're probably going to freeze to death if you're not dressed well enough, and your character is going to get slower and slower, and probably going to just die.
Maintain function for booby traps. Is there any update on this, please?
I know guys are working on those, so I guess we're gonna have to wait for the base building to be updated to see. If you have any doubts or any suggestions, post them on the forums. I'll check it myself personally tomorrow morning, and make sure to answer all your questions.
NVGs are added. What about thermal? Is that a possibility?
There is a possibility, but I can't also promise it.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that we have kept you for long enough. This isn't over, by the way, guys. I actually am going straight from this to hopping onto some SCUM myself. I still got some playing to do. I still got some streaming to do for tonight, so this isn't everything. But for Bunny here, it is almost, it is almost 2 a.m. where he's at. So he's done. His part of this is kind of over, but I will be free to answer whatever questions I have the answer to, or at least talk to you guys for a little bit if you want to stay on for the stream. I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll be moving on. Otherwise, if you guys do want to get involved in any way, shape, or form with our community and be notified, obviously, when we do these streams, I will leave a link to my social media below. Should be in there right now. It's got everything: Discord, Twitter, all that stuff. So next time we do these, you guys will actually be notified and be able to watch the whole thing live. If you missed any of this, go to my YouTube. I'm going to be putting the entire video out tomorrow so that you guys can watch through, and it'll have actual timestamps for every piece of it. That way you don't have to watch the entire thing if you don't want to, just the parts that matter to you. But other than that, we're going to go on that break, and I'll be right back. Bunny, you got any last words for the viewers here?
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully I answered most of your questions. If you have any left that were unanswered, feel free to drop by on the forums, as mentioned before, or our official Discord, and we'll see to answer them as soon as possible. Thank you for supporting us, and you've been great tonight. Thank you.
Awesome. And thank you so much for your time. Seriously, like I said, guys, I can't stress it enough. He's out here late working with us almost till 2 a.m. This is the effort that this dev team puts in. So I obviously can't stress that enough.
I mean, this is probably not our last interview, so looking forward to future ones as well.
Yes, sir. We'll be glad to have you back on the grid. Glad to have you back. But anyway, yeah, I guess I'm going to put on the Be Right Back, and I will chat with you guys very shortly, and we'll decide what server we're going to hop onto. We're going to have some fun still tonight, and we got a lot to talk about, by the way, at least from my community side of the thing. But anyway, enjoy this. I don't know any other way to explain it, but weird-ass little clip while you wait for me to hop back on. I think I have a timer set up with it, too.